Welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into this Chrysalis project. You've sent over a really interesting mix of materials on this blockchain venture, company info, a lively Ask Me Anything session, and some key takeaways. It's clear this project is about more than just the tech.
You're right. It's about real-world impact. Imagine holding digital tokens directly tied to physical assets.
Okay.
Barrels of oil,
Wow.
kilos of gold, even carbon offsets. That's the future Chrysalis is building.
Okay, let's unpack that. We're talking about owning a piece of, say, a gold mine in Ghana, but digitally through this platform. How does that even work?
They're using something called a digital ownership token, or DOT.
DOT.
Think of it like a digital certificate of authenticity, but for a physical object,
Right.
permanently tied to it on the blockchain. This DOT contains, key information about the asset, like its origin and transaction history.
So full transparency and traceability, which is huge, especially with something like ethically sourced gold.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, tell me more about the people behind this ambitious project. We've got company bios here.
The team is a blend of deep tech expertise and real-world business acumen. You've got Christopher Reay, the CTO, a coding whiz,
Right.
who's been involved with blockchain since its early days.
And his brother, Alexander, is the CISO. He brings a ton of experience in cybersecurity and digital disruption, having founded multiple organizations.
And they've recently brought on Nishant Kothari as COO.
Okay.
He's the COO of Quorum8, a marketing powerhouse in the blockchain space. This signals that Chrysalis is serious about expanding their reach.
A smart move, especially with some of the big developments they've been working on. New smart contracts are coming out this month, which I know a lot of people are excited about.
It seems they've addressed previous concerns about complexity.
Yeah.
From what they've shared, these new contracts keep the same solid tokenomics but streamline the technology for a smoother user experience.
And if that wasn't enough, get this. They're launching their own Layer 1 blockchain.
This is huge for bringing blockchain to the masses.
Right.
A mobile-friendly platform, which
Yes.
theirs will be,
Okay.
could onboard millions who find traditional crypto inaccessible. This could be a game changer.
For those unfamiliar, what exactly is a Layer 1 blockchain, and why is it such a big deal that Chrysalis is building their own?
Think of Layer 1 as the foundation of a blockchain ecosystem. It's responsible for security, transaction processing, the core functions. Now, most projects use existing Layer 1 solutions like Ethereum,
Right.
but by building their own, Chrysalis has complete control. They can tailor it for optimal performance with real-world assets, avoid the limitations of other platforms, even integrate with other projects down the line.
So it's like they're building their own custom-designed highway instead of using a pre-existing one, which allows them to optimize for speed and efficiency. That makes sense. But Chrysalis isn't all talk and future plans. Their Earth Exchange project, which focuses on high-integrity carbon credits, is already making waves.
Absolutely. They've even secured the UN's endorsement, which speaks volumes about the project's credibility and potential impact on carbon markets.
They've also managed to secure an export license from Ghana for oil and gas, no small feat in that industry. This is about as real-world as it gets.
Indeed. It demonstrates they have the operational experience and regulatory knowledge to navigate complex global markets.
This is great news for anyone concerned about those legacy NFTs and rewards. During the AMA, they addressed this directly, saying it's all safe and sound.
They were very clear about that.
Good.
All existing assets will be airdropped to users' wallets on the new platform, making the transition as seamless as possible.
And what about those V-Boxes? I know some people were wondering about those.
They are being phased out in the new system. However, Chrysalis emphasized that any assets held within the V-Boxes will retain their value and be integrated into the new platform.
That's good to hear. They also mentioned that staking is already being tested, and from the sounds of it, it's working well.
Yes, and they were transparent about the process. Staking rewards will even be backdated to ensure no one misses out. This level of transparency and commitment to their community is quite refreshing.
It certainly seems like they're going above and beyond to address any concerns and keep their community informed. But this brings us to an interesting point. They're making some major changes.
Right.
New smart contracts, a new blockchain. Yet they seem committed to honoring past commitments and bringing everyone along for the ride.
And that's key to building long-term trust, which seems to be a priority for them. It's a delicate balance, right? Pushing innovation while maintaining stability.
Yeah.
But it speaks to their long-term vision. They're not interested in quick hype cycles. They're building for lasting impact.
And that commitment to real-world assets is a huge part of that. We talked about the DOTs, but to be honest, the whole concept is still a little fuzzy for me.
It's a whole new way of thinking about ownership in the digital age. Let's say you buy a DOT tied to a barrel of oil from Ghana using the Chrysalis platform. That DOT isn't just a digital record, it's linked to the physical barrel itself.
Okay, so it's like a digital twin, but for assets.
Yeah.
But what's to stop someone from, just copying the DOT or claiming ownership when they shouldn't?
That's where the blockchain comes in.
Right.
Remember, this isn't just any blockchain. It's Chrysalis' own layer 1, specifically designed for this purpose. Every DOT is a unique tamper-proof record on that blockchain. You can't just copy it or fake it because the blockchain itself acts as the ultimate proof of ownership.
So it's like having a global, incorruptible ledger that verifies every transaction and guarantees the authenticity of each asset.
Exactly, and it goes beyond just ownership. Because the blockchain records every step in the asset's journey, you can trace it back to its source. Imagine being able to see the exact well that oil came from, the conditions under which it was extracted, even the environmental impact of its production.
That's incredible. That level of transparency could revolutionize supply chains, making it easier to track products, verify their origins, and hold companies accountable for ethical sourcing.
And it's particularly powerful for something like carbon credits, which are at the heart of the Earth Exchange project. One of the biggest challenges with carbon markets is the potential for fraud and double counting.
Because right now, it's hard to guarantee that a carbon offset you buy actually represents a real reduction in emissions.
Precisely. But with Chrysalis' system, each carbon credit on the Earth Exchange is linked to a specific, verifiable project on the ground, whether it's reforestation, renewable energy, or something else.
So if I buy a carbon credit token through Chrysalis, I can be sure that it's not some made-up project and that my investment is actually making a difference. That's huge for building trust and transparency in the carbon market.
And that trust is essential if we want to see widespread adoption of carbon offsetting as a way to combat climate change.
It sounds like they're really laying the groundwork for a more sustainable and transparent future. But all of this, the DOTs, the layer 1, it's pretty complex stuff. How are they making sure everyone, not just tech experts, can participate?
They've emphasized user-friendliness from the start. Remember, their layer 1 can even run on your phone.
Right.
They want to make this technology as accessible as possible. They've also stressed the importance of community engagement.
Which makes sense, especially given the challenges they face with their previous smart contracts.
Yeah.
They're really making an effort to rebuild trust and bring the community along on this journey.
Absolutely. They've committed to regular updates, transparent communication, and those weekly webinars they're hosting are a great example. They're giving people a direct line to the team and a chance to ask questions about the project's progress.
And it's not just talk. They're bringing in key players directly involved with on-the-ground projects. In the AMA, they mentioned Chad, who's heading up operations in Ghana, and Roy, who's an expert in the carbon credit space.
This is a smart move. It shows they're not just focused on the tech, but also on the real-world implementation and the people making it happen.
It's interesting to hear them talk about the interest they're getting from all over the world. Kenya, Indonesia, even communities in the Amazon rainforest, all looking to utilize the Earth Exchange for their own carbon credit projects.
It's a testament to the potential of this technology to address global challenges and to create a more sustainable and equitable future.
Speaking of which, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the financial side of things. What are the implications here? What does all of this mean for investors?
That's where it gets really interesting.
We've talked a lot about the technology and the impact, but what does it actually look like to invest in the Chrysalis ecosystem?
That's the question, isn't it? It's still early days, but we can look at their vision. They want to be the go-to platform for real-world asset projects globally.
So, like a Binance, but for things like gold mines or sustainable farms, instead of just cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. Imagine browsing investment opportunities in, say, a sustainable cocoa farm in Ghana or a solar energy project in Indonesia, all vetted and secured on the Chrysalis blockchain.
That seems like a huge shift from how we think about investing now. Instead of just buying stocks in a company, you could potentially own a piece of a real tangible asset.
And because it's on the blockchain, everything is transparent. You can see exactly where your investment is going, how the project is progressing, and what your potential returns are.
And it's not just about individual investors. They've talked about governments and organizations using the platform too, right?
Absolutely. For example, imagine a government using Chrysalis to issue bonds tied to infrastructure projects, or an environmental organization using it to fund reforestation efforts.
That could be a game changer in terms of transparency and accountability.
No more wondering where your tax dollars are going or if that donation actually planted a tree. With Chrysalis, you could potentially track the impact of your investment every step of the way.
It's a powerful vision, but like any new technology, there are risks. We've seen how volatile the crypto market can be.
Of course. And while Chrysalis is focused on real-world assets, which tend to be more stable than pure cryptocurrencies, there's always a level of risk involved in any investment.
They've also faced challenges before, like the issues with their previous smart contracts.
True. But they seem to have learned from those experiences. The new smart contracts, the Layer 1 blockchain, their commitment to transparency. These are all positive signs.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. So much of this is about trust. Can they deliver on their promises? Can they build a platform that is secure, transparent, and accessible to everyone?
Those are the key questions. But you have to admire their ambition. They're tackling complex issues like global trade, sustainable development, even climate change.
And they're doing it with a focus on real-world impact, not just hypothetical future applications. Whether they succeed or not, it's a fascinating case study in the evolution of blockchain technology.
It really is. And it highlights the potential for blockchain to go beyond just digital currencies and revolutionize how we think about value, ownership, and even our relationship with the physical world.
It's a lot to ponder. What stands out to you as the biggest takeaway from all of this?
For me, it's the potential to democratize access to investment opportunities. Imagine a world where anyone, regardless of their location or financial background, could invest in projects that align with their values.
It's a compelling vision for a more equitable and sustainable future. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the Chrysalis project. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, from the technical details of their Layer 1 blockchain to the real-world implications of their Earth Exchange project.
It's clear that Chrysalis is more than just another blockchain startup. They're aiming to bridge the gap between the digital and physical worlds in a way that could have a profound impact.
And they're doing it with a level of transparency and community engagement that is refreshing to see in this space.
We'll be keeping a close eye on their progress. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.